evening. Today is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, and this is the Rate Review Committee meeting. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the OMLs are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternate means. This meeting will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 prior to the meeting. So I will call the Rate Review Committee to order. And first item on the agenda would be to review and approve of the previous meeting minutes.
Through the chair, I sent everybody the draft minutes from January 26th of 2021. If there are any edits, corrections, or questions, otherwise we'd be looking for approval.
I didn't see any edits, but I'll make a motion. We approve it.
I second the motion.
All right, any further discussion? All right, then I'll do a roll call vote. Mark Smith,
Aye.
Rick,
Aye.
Lisa. She's muted. Okay, Pam,
Aye.
Mark Wetzel,
Aye.
and I approve also. In the meeting minutes from January 26th.
Sorry.
Okay.
I too.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So first up is discussion review of the proposed FY 2022 water and sewer rates.
Madam Chair, through you, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Gabri, who also there are two shared screen slides which she'll be using, and we'll make sure folks get those. But I'll have Lisa sort of walk us through the thinking on the FY22 water and then the FY22 sewer rates.
Lisa, are you ready for those screens now?
Yeah, sure. What do you want? Are you going to put up first, Carly?
You tell me.
It doesn't matter. Water, sewer doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll do the PowerPoint one first.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second. And here we go.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. Should I be talking now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you're good.
Okay. So I don't know if you recall, but last year, because of PFAS at Spec Pond, we had a lot of issues about it was unknown how we were going to borrow for it. So I had recommended pretty hefty increase last year, like 26 cents for the first step anyway, and a little bit above that for the second and third steps. And Mark and his crew and CDM, I think at Engineering Farm, were successful in getting Clean Water Trust loan, which saved us over $1 million in interest during the term of the loan. And it may also save us some money in costs that we don't have to pay for. But right now, all that we know of is the no interest. So rather than increase it another 28 cents, which we thought we were going to have to this year, we can now only increase it by 7 cents for the first step, which is the step that involves most people, most residences. So the rates here you see are per 100 cubic feet. The current and proposed rate increase, the steps are at 3,000 cubic feet increments. And FY22 rates are less than previously projected due to the Mass Clean Water Trust interest-free loan for and received by the DPW. These rates do include new positions, and the new positions add about 1 cent to each of the rates. So, but without discussing sewer, we should discuss sewer first, I think.
So just a quick question,
Like a
just to want to
very
clarify
reasonable
what you said. Lisa,
Mhm.
I just want to clarify what you said as far as the 7 cents. If we weren't considering new positions, the increase would have been just 6 cents.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
So for the sewer though, we aren't as lucky. So we have this over $10 million of new capital to try to fit into the sewer rates. That's over the next 2026, I believe. And there's really no way of getting to that amount if we have to pay for it all in the rates right now. It just, I'm using, to get at the rates you see right now, I'm actually using $1.8 million of sewer retained earnings. And sewer only has about $2 million in retained earnings at this point. So, and here also, you'll see the increases of 41 cents at step 1, 47 and 43. These are proposed. This does include the new positions, and that adds about 2 cents to each of the rates. So in my opinion, of course, I'm not a ratepayer here, I think that's the 1 cent, the 3 cent total is very reasonable considering what you're going to get in return. And especially when you look at the next slide, which shows you the impact on a resident, on the average resident. The average resident uses about 1,000 cubic feet per quarter. So we're estimating a little under $5 for combined water and sewer per quarter, or a little under $20 per year, which is pretty reasonable, I believe. And I realize that people are looking for cuts in costs, but we have some major capital along the way, and there is basically no other way to provide for that capital. And even at this rate increase, it's not enough. We have to think about in the coming years what we're going to do to be able to afford that capital, whether it's to reduce some of it in the future or build our retained earnings up again somehow. In either case, I don't think it's fair to impose that kind of increase on people today during COVID. But this, in my opinion, is a reasonable increase. When you think about it, $4.80 is like 2 coffees a week. And I don't think I gave this to Carly, but last year, the overall increase was per annual between water and sewer was just over $21. So we actually reduced that increase this year. The overall increase to just under $20 per year. I mean, that would be my best recommendation at this point. There are a lot of unknowns, and hopefully in the future, we'll know more about what's going to be waived on our costs for the PFAS plant, and maybe we'll have more information about the actual costs of those capital improvements at the sewer treatment plant. I don't know if there's any questions.
So for the capital that you're talking about the whole PFAS and the sewer building. Is that what you just said?
No, there's capital upgrades at the sewer treatment plant. We've already approved $6 million worth of those, and they are in our debt schedule now for existing debt, but we have to provide another over $10 million according to Mark's latest capital request, 5-year capital request.
Okay.
Pretty expensive, but hopefully we can find a way to whittle that down, because we would have had to have like a 10 to 15% increase, which is just not going to fly.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Through the
I believe
chair,
Devon's sewer is coming to an end too,
Right.
the line to Devon's.
So
Right.
on that note, Rick, I had to use, there's an estimated schedule that Devon's provides And that assumes that we're in the same agreement, which we know, like, we're hopeful that the agreement will change to save us some money. But right now, that's all I know is that's what exists. So that's what I have built into the FY '22 budget for sewer.
Thank
Through
you.
the chair,
Mhm.
Lisa, first of all, great job in putting all of this together. And I agree with you. I think that obviously nobody likes any type of increase, but the reality is based on increased costs for the infrastructure, the big piece, of course, operations and so forth. Unfortunately, it's a necessary evil to some extent. I think that a total of a 3-cent increase for both of those positions is a value in terms of what we get back from that. I think that the recommendation, obviously with both the water and the sewer, I just want to say again, good job, because I know the sewer, the reality is that that infrastructure needs to be upgraded. And I like your little tagline about, what did you say, $4.80? It's about 2 coffees or something.
Well, if you go to Dunkin' Donuts, but if you're going to Starbucks,
True.
then that totally wipes that out.
So just to conclude, I think from my perspective, in both cases, I think are very fair and realistic recommendations, and also what we get in return. And my final point, as you mentioned, as we get into, and Mark Wetzel on the new business will just touch upon the Devons, obviously the new agreement with Devons, when we're successful. I know you had to use the old matrix, as you mentioned, so there is an opportunity there, a potential improvement moving forward, and also as we continue to look at other funding opportunities as we move forward. So again, thank you for all of your work on the numbers, and from my perspective, I think both are strong recommendations, including a total of a 3-cent increase for both of those positions.
Oh, I mean, it seems reasonable. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns? I'll take that as a no. Okay. Well, is everyone ready to vote on the recommended rates?
Yes.
I guess so.
Okay. Could we see the numbers again so that we at least know what we're putting in the motion?
Sure. Here they come.
That's not really the rates, Carly. You got to go back. And back one more time. Thank you.
All right,
So it's the proposed rates, the rates that are proposed.
okay. Does anybody want to make a motion, or?
I
I'll
make
make
a
a
motion that we accept the proposed rates for water and sewer for the next fiscal year.
All right,
I'll second that.
all right. Let me see if I can see all of you again. All those in favor, I'll do a roll call vote. Mark Smith,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Mark Wetzel.
Aye.
Okay, and the chair says aye. All right, so that's been approved. So hard to see everybody. Okay. All right, next on the agenda is to vote on the recommendation for the proposed water and sewer superintendent position and the part-time water sewer billing clerk position. Do we have any further info on that?
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Just before that, we just did the water. Do we want to do a vote on the recommendation for the sewer?
He had put it in, in that motion.
Went in both.
He
I
did.
stand corrected. Thank you. Got it.
Mhm, no problem. Okay.
So, Madam Chair, through you on number 4, and I know some were at the last select board meeting, Superintendent Wetzel made a presentation to the select board outlining the parameters of both of these positions and their impact on the budget. And I know we've been discussing, I know he did a presentation previously for this group, and we have been discussing it. So we put this item on here to see the will of the committee as far as if we wanted to include a recommendation along with the water and sewer rates that were just voted, to include this in our presentation to the select board. In other words, looking to see if the committee would formally recommend both of these positions. And for the benefit of the committee, if there's any questions or need a refresher on the general components of both position, I know Mark can provide a highlight.
So the superintendent position was going to be a separate, was it water? Were we making it, or was this going to be assistant superintendent?
The official title that I sought to fit into the current structure, since we have a superintendent of public works, then I think it would be awkward to have a superintendent of water and sewer. So what I proposed was the title would be assistant superintendent who is in charge of water and sewer. So assistant superintendent for water and sewer.
So just so everyone's clear, I rolled both of those salaries into the rates as if they were direct costs. So in my opinion, they should be 100% charged to water and sewer. And that's where the 3 cents comes from. It was my understanding that they're going to work exclusively for water and sewer.
That's my, yeah.
That's the proposal.
Okay.
I
And that
also
would-
rolled some indirect costs. I assumed the full-time position would take health insurance. So I rolled that into the indirect cost as well,
Okay,
covering everything.
all right. And the recommendation for the assistant superintendent, oh, I hate it when the screen flips. Was it a grade 14 that you were recommending, Mark?
Well, let me pull that up. No, that's not it.
I mean, I have Mark's email if you can't find it, Mark.
If I could just
Sure, that's
interject,
where it is.
Yes, Pam?
I think for clarity, and hopefully not to, muddy the waters, if the existing superintendent had a different title, perhaps director of public works, then it would make sense to have a superintendent of water and sewer. It's, otherwise, if there's an assistant superintendent, but only for water and sewer, I just think there's a lot of gray areas there, or there will be.
Okay.
No,
Right.
that's a good point.
Yeah, I would have proposed that, but I thought it would be too, I don't know what if there were charter issues with changing positions and things like that.
Well, as far as titles go, that we can always fix down the road.
Yeah,
For right now, probably for clarity, going to town meeting, probably assistant superintendent would be fine. And then down the road, we can clear up because I agree with what Pam's saying, we can clear up titles as far as director and then superintendent, but probably for right now, it would make sense to people. Because then we're trying to say, we're going to call Mark the director and then the new person, the superintendent. So, yeah, but I believe it was for a grade, I don't have my packet in front of my old packet in front of me, but I think it was going to be for a grade 14.
it was grade 14. And the billing clerk was a grade 3.
Grade 3. Okay.
And the billing clerk would be 19 hours a week.
And that was because 20 hours gives them benefits?
Right.
Okay.
Do we need to talk about whether that would be a position in the clerical union?
It has to be.
Okay.
Good point, Pam. Yeah. So it would be in the clerical union, and through the chair, that grade 3 is the grade 3 within the clerical contract. So there's
Right.
a, yeah.
That's what I used for the budget.
Okay. And the assistant superintendent, that would be a personal contract, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Concerns?
I have one. Does he get a car?
I
All
didn't
the
factor that
others.
in, Rick.
All the other ones get cars.
He didn't factor it in. No,
All right. No car this year.
Only kidding.
We'll probably be able to get grants for electric cars pretty soon. I saw something coming out for that.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. Well, if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion for the positions.
I make a motion that we go forward with the Assistant Superintendent of Water and Sewer position and the part-time Water and Sewer Billing Clerk position.
I can second that.
All right. All those in favor, roll call vote. Mark Smith,
Aye.
Rich,
I,
Pam,
aye.
Mark, Wetzel,
Aye.
Lisa.
Aye.
The chair says aye. All right, so that's approved, and it'll go for the Board of Selectmen, which we'll be scheduling that. I think we're going to discuss next as far as when we're going to schedule that. And then I'm sure we'll be going in front of town meeting in May. No, April. I'm sorry. Town meeting's on the last Monday in April. Okay. All right, so with that, we need to discuss the discussion of the scheduling of the water and sewer rate public presentations and recommendations to the select board. So it would be my recommendation, unless Robert and everybody's ready, and Robert can say that the agenda's fine for next week, I would recommend the last meeting of March,
16th. Yep.
the 16th. Okay,
Yep.
is that acceptable?
That would be good.
Okay, so I had asked when this had been previously talked to the board, as far as when it comes for setting up the agenda for the 16th, to make sure plenty of time is allotted for the presentation and allotted for any questions that the board may have or any residents who call in, because it is a public hearing. So I'm going to reiterate, please make sure that there is plenty of wiggle room on the agenda for March 16th. And if everyone's fine with that, we will go forward with March 16th, the water and sewer rate public presentation and recommendations to the select board.
Yep.
Do we need a motion on that, or is that good?
We're good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right then.
I'll work with Lisa and we'll put together a presentation.
Okay.
Mark.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Next on the agenda is an update on transfer station revenues and rates. Now, as you know, we had decided not to raise the rates for the transfer station permit, and we were leaving up in the air the bags, the rates on the bags. So what do we got for today?
So Madam Chair, through you, I'd turn it over to Lisa to sort of give an update on the revenue situation at the transfer station.
So, hello, could Carly put up the Excel document? Thank you. Okay. So the top part, FY22, this is where I estimate revenues. And then what I've been doing is looking at what we've received to date through the end of January. And what percentage of that is normally collected? And then what does it look like if we don't have a price increase? So we're looking like we're gonna have a shortfall in the stickers of about 25 grand this year and a surplus in the bags of about 20 grand. So a net 5 grand shortfall. And if we don't take any action, that's what it's gonna be for FY22. And then the recycling revenue looked good and the recycling committee revenue looked good. The solar lease rent goes up about 1.5% per contract per year. So that I rolled that in. So that between that and the general fund subsidy, which I am trying to keep level funded at least, we try to make every effort to reduce it actually, but I'm just trying to keep it level funded. That's $160,000. You'll notice that the transfer from the general fund, the debt exclusion, the landfill closure is finally paid off. Hooray. However, it doesn't really help the budget because the revenue came in from the taxes and then went out through the expenses. So what I'm coming up with is a total right now of estimated available funds of $486,000. Then below, if Carly can, I took Mark's operating budget and I added in indirect cost expenses through calculations that I do. And I added in the debt for this year. Again, you see the debt dropping, so there's no more debt exclusion debt. But now we have $528,000 of expenses, which is less than last year, but the revenues are less as well. So we have about a $42,000 shortfall. And if you look up the top again, you see that as of June 30, 19, June 30, 20 has not been certified yet, but as of June 30, 19, it was only $82,000 in retained earnings for solid waste. And we voted to use 36,000 of that in 2021. So that leaves us with $50,000, which is not a lot to have as a cushion in an enterprise fund, even though it's a smaller one. And so my recommendation, I don't mind using some of it because I can see that FY20 will certify at an additional maybe 50 grand. I don't mind using some of it, but I do believe that we should probably consider, I know that Pam thinks like this transfer station stickers are just an easier to get out to people to process, you know, on a timely basis. I think that we should reconsider an increase in the transfer station sticker cost as of either July 1st or I don't know, October 1st. It's still strange to me that the revenues, the increases are based on a calendar year, and yet this is a fiscal year budget. That's still, and I know that was to eliminate or reduce some of the workload at the DPW. So what I'm looking for, I would say to share that 42,000, maybe take some of it, maybe half of it from the funds retained earnings and maybe half of it, which is $20,000 with an increase to the maybe transfer station stickers since they're easier to get out. And I don't know what that exactly means. I know Mark has provided information in the past, but he's the only one who has the breakdown of the, see there's 20 information in here, but the sticker fees and who buys them, there's elderly ones, there's other one-day ones, and I don't have that background because it's not reported that way. So anyway, that would be my suggestion, only because I'm fearful that you know, every enterprise fund needs a little bit of a cushion, and I feel like we shouldn't use all of the retained earnings up.
Well, I mean,
For
the
operating
problem is
purposes.
that, you know, we really can't raise the transfer station tickets until, you know, we're getting close to, you know, the calendar year again, the start of the calendar year, because that's when we do it. And one of the reasons why we didn't do a rate increase is because how do you tell the people that you want to increase their rates to a transfer station that they feel they're not being able to utilize totally due to COVID also?
That's why I'm not recommending doing it now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe in the fall, I mean, even July 1st might be all right, but you know, I don't know how long this COVID thing's gonna wind up either. So maybe in the fall when we meet, we need to consider it. My problem is I can't roll it in. I can't roll it into an April ATM with a deficit showing in that fund.
Mhm.
Now I'm not, and DOR is all over us about estimated revenues these days. So
Right.
we're very critical of overestimating your revenues. So with
Right.
a rate increase, even if we vote to effectively increase it in, say, October or November, but we vote now to do it, then I can roll it in. But if we don't vote anything before town meeting, then I can't roll any kind of increase in. I need to also provide them, they're very responsible. When we have increases in rates, water and sewer rates, solid waste rates, I have to report that vote to the DOR. So, you know, they're watching us. And it's a good thing because some communities can get, you know, that's how you get in trouble sometimes if you overestimate revenues. But
Well,
so
the transfer
Jeff
station.
still would take a
transfer-
vote now to be effective in the fall.
The transfer station sales have tapered off dramatically, which is perfectly normal for us. Now we'll only be selling them to people who move into town and renters coming into town. So we're really, you know, have plateaued with our existing rates. Stickers for the next year will go on sale in November. So it makes sense to go ahead and decide what we're going to do for the next calendar year's sticker rates or bags, if that's where we're going to go. It's not with the bags. Every outside vendor that we have that sells our bags, they have to, you know, change their barcodes or, you know, it's labor for them. It's not that it can't be done. If we can get the same result with raising the transfer station vehicle stickers, then that's a more efficient way to do it.
So
I agree.
perhaps, I mean, we don't have the information to, I don't think, unless Mark brought it with him, about how much to raise them at this meeting.
I'll have to plug in all my numbers and take a look at it.
Okay.
And I
So-
can report that at our next meeting, but I would say, you know, a couple things we could do. Number one is, and I don't know how much it impacts it, we typically, after July 1, we prorate, so you get your
No.
sticker at half
We
price.
don't prorate anymore.
Just for new residents,
Yeah.
not existing.
So we could completely eliminate that. But I think you can raise the bag rates anytime. But we can't really do the permits until we start selling the new ones again.
Which would, I think that'd be fine, because it's still within the fiscal year of 2022.
Right.
So
And we
maybe we should
are,
have another meeting to get some information from Mark so that we can be able to discuss it further.
Through the
And-
chair, that was my
Mhm.
question, Lisa, in terms of timing. So obviously we would have, we're going to have the meeting with the select board on March 16th. And then we've been meeting the fourth Tuesdays at 4, this committee. So our next regular March meeting would be March 23rd. Is that something we could have a further discussion on? Or what I'm getting at is you don't need a vote or action today per se. Okay.
Let me
No.
ask you a question. Let me ask a question, because in all previous times when we've gone to raise rates for the transfer station, we've also had to go to the board to get approval for that. So
Right.
wouldn't we have to get approval from the board if on March 23rd we say, hey, you know, we're going to go ahead and tell you what the rate is going to be raised to now so that we can go ahead and you know, tell the DOR about it. It wouldn't go into effect until the stickers are being purchased again. But would we be able to make a recommendation on the 23rd and then the first meeting of the board, go back and say, hey, by the way, we need to ask you permission to raise the rates?
Yes, so to answer Janice's question,
And
this,
is that going to be in time for, Lisa looks like she's going,
I don't know.
no.
I don't know. That's a good question, Janice.
Okay.
well, so two things. So obviously procedurally, this is a rate review recommendation committee. So we can only recommend. The select board has to either adopt or not, as everybody knows. So the first step would be this committee would need to make a recommendation. What if, I'm just proposing as a potential timeline, because what if we have our regular monthly meeting on March 23rd, let's say for the sake of discussion, on the 23rd, and let's say on the 23rd, we did make some type of recommendation. Then that would go to the select board, Lisa. It would have to go to the select board, let's say the first meeting in April is the 6th. Does that give you, in the town meeting's the 26th, does that give you enough time?
Yeah, it'd be very last minute because according to Carly, the warrant goes out to print on the 8th.
Right.
Right.
So all the decisions on the warrant have to be made on the 6th, including these rates. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, we could do it. It'll be last minute, but we can do it.
All right, let me ask this. Our next meeting for the board is the 16th of March? Is that correct? Okay,
We have the 2nd and the 16th. Yep.
all right. I'm going to throw this out there. What if we met for a meeting on March 15th? It's a Monday, 4 o'clock, just to discuss transfer station so that if we do have a recommendation, we can bring it to the board on the 16th.
I agree.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yep.
so we
That
would,
works.
we would schedule a rate. So what Janice is saying, would schedule a rate meeting for March 15th, let's say at 4.
Mhm.
And then we would put a placeholder on.
Well, it would be part of the public presentation on the 16th.
Yeah, we could do that. If this committee is willing to meet on the 15th. It's a good idea.
Let me just, give me 1 second. Let me just double check my calendar. Hang on. I didn't put my phone in front of me. Okay, that would work for me.
Does that,
Would it work for everybody else?
Yes,
For me.
Yes,
okay,
Works for me.
All right,
work.
then we will meet again on March 15th at 4 PM, specifically to discuss transfer station.
got it.
Okay.
Got it. And that'll, through the chair, we'll take care of the agenda. That'll be the item.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we'll do the public presentation on the 16th, and that, you know, depending on the decision of the board, will give Lisa and everybody plenty of time to be able to get it on the warrant. So when the warrant is approved on the 6th, everything's ready so it can go to the printer on the 8th of April. Okay. All righty
That's
then.
good.
Okay. Do we don't need a motion for the meeting date, do we?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, then. Any new business?
Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a update on, so I've been thinking more about the Devon's agreement and the process. So I started putting together an outline of, I'd given the selectmen an outline of the process. I think we discussed it at another meeting, and I sort of took that and started filling in some blanks, for what information we're going to need from Devon's and what we're going to do with it and who has to review what. So I'm working on that, and I'll be transmitting that to the town manager, and hopefully we can get a work group put together and approved by the selectmen at an upcoming meeting and get the process started.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, just don't write it on a Post-it note, like years ago.
Right, what on a Post-it note?
The old contract.
The old contract wasn't
contract.
the old contract wasn't on a Post-it note. It's like 40 pages long.
Oh, all we ever heard was like it was written on Post-it notes and stuff.
Well, it might have been a bunch of Post-it notes put together, but the problem was I don't think anyone read it before they signed it.
Oh,
Exactly.
there was a lot of last minute stuff going on there.
Yeah.
At meetings I missed.
Hmm. All right then, any other new business? You're all so lively tonight. It's hard on Zoom sometimes because everybody's got that, plain face on. It's like, okay. All right, so we've already scheduled the next meeting, which will be March 15th at 4 p.m. And then, of course, on March 16th, it'll go in front of the board. So if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor? Rich,
Aye.
Mark Smith,
aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and the chair says aye.